Hi there, my name is Marcy Anderson Evans, and I am creating this video on behalf of AED's Social Media Committee. And first and foremost, we want to thank you for your willingness to participate in a Twitter chat. You know, through the years, we have had the opportunity to work with some amazing eating disorder experts. And while they might be expert in the eating disorder field, they don't always feel like they're expert when it comes to social media and certainly navigating a Twitter chat. So we realize that this may be outside of your comfort zone, and we are so appreciative of your willingness to do something that feels a little bit like a stretch, maybe a little bit uncomfortable. And we hope this video will walk you through some of the process to help you feel a little bit more at ease for the day of the chat. So what I'm going to do is switch into screen share mode and walk you through some steps of getting set up with Twitter, as well as how to participate on the Twitter chat for the big day. All right, so let me move my computer into screen share mode. All right, so hopefully you see what I'm looking at on my screen. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, your very first step, let me see if I can enlarge my screen here so it looks a little bit bigger, a little bit easier for you to see, is you want to go to twitter.com and click on set up a new account if you haven't done that already. It's really simple to do. Type in your name, your email address, and a password. The next thing that you want to do is, once you've logged in, is do a little bit to kind of specialize your page. You can upload a photo, a little background if you want. You can put in some information about what you're all about. And then you want to start following some people. And if you don't know who to follow, search for AED Web. Of course, that's the Academy. And you can go in and see who we're following and use that as a guide. And you can kind of go through the list and say, okay, if AED is following them, there's a chance I might be interested in following them too. And you can kind of go through our list and start following people that you're interested in or who shares common interests and values. And you'll see that you'll start getting people following you back. So that's just a little bit of information about getting started with your own Twitter account. If you have additional questions, don't hesitate to contact the Social Media Committee to get some guidance on that. Now, a little bit of information on what you're going to want to do for the day of the chat. Leading up to the chat, what you're going to be doing is working with anybody else who's going to be on the chat with you. So that's going to be members of the Social Media Committee. And if there's another, colleague or clinician who's going to be doing the chat with you, and you guys are going to be spending time developing questions for the chat and answers for the chat. And that's likely going to be taking place in a shared Google document so people can work on it simultaneously. And the way we have it organized is questions labeled Q1 for question 1, so Q1, Q2, Q3, etc. And then it's going to be your job as the Twitter chat guest and expert to respond with answers. So, and you would respond A1 for any responses you have for question 1, A2 questions for question 2, etc. That way it's really clearly delineated which answers are in response to which questions. Now you can also create responses that have multiple parts. So you could say for question 1, you could respond A1 or A, 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. So you can split up your thoughts into more than one response, since you're going to be limited by 140 characters. Now, my piece of advice to you is, even if you're splitting up a thought into 3 different tweets, try to do so in a way so that each individual tweet could be self-sustaining, meaning someone could read your response A1 of 3 and it could make some sense on its own. Sometimes it's not always possible to do that, but it's really helpful because with Twitter, you kind of want those 140 characters to be something that says something strong and meaningful as best you can in 140 characters so that other people can see it and retweet it. And as you're developing your responses to each of the questions, it's going to be really important that you're saving enough room in your response for this hashtag AED chat. That's going to be really important because that hashtag is what keeps all of the tweets together and searchable. So for instance, this is just a little example. Eating disorder recovery is important. Hashtag AED chat. Another thing you could do is make this all one word, stick a hashtag in front of it, and again, that is what makes it searchable. And you can see here that you've got still 93 characters left. So if you wanted to put more in there, you could. Now, another little tip that I wanted to give you is if you're wanting to share a URL or a online resource, but it has a really long URL, sometimes URLs are extremely long, what you can do is come to this website here, bitly.com, and you can paste in. So let's see, let's go to the AED website and just say, okay, yeah, this looks like a URL I want to share. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go here. I'm going to paste it here, and it's shortened that significantly by several characters, and I'm going to hit copy. And then I can copy that link, come over to Twitter and paste it, and it's kept that URL as succinct as possible. So those are just a couple of tips to use as you are developing your tweets for the day of the chat. Paying attention to having really salient tweets that can stand alone, watching that 140 characters, including the hashtag AED chat that has to be on each and every one, so there's got to be room for that, and I'm using that URL shortener. So if you have any other questions about developing your tweets along the way, that's what our job is, to really help you along the way so you have a positive experience with us. The next thing I want to talk about is really managing the day of the chat. On the day of the chat, you want to log in first and foremost to your individual Twitter page. That's going to be your first step, and I highly recommend that you do that 20 to 30 minutes before the chat. So that way, if you run into any sort of technical difficulties, and believe me, they do happen, and they seem to always happen right before the tweet chat, we've got some time to problem solve it. So step one, log into your Twitter account. Step two, you want to go to twubs.com. Let me kind of start from the beginning here. Go to twubs.com, and then you're going to click up here and you're going to log in. So we're already logged into AED. We can say currently linked to Twitter account, great, AED. If it doesn't automatically link you, what you do is a little sign will come up and you'll just say connect with my Twitter account, and it will link to your Twitter account. You go back home to the Twubs page. You look into this top right-hand corner to make sure it's linked to your Twitter account. And you're going to enter the hashtag, and this is important, AED chat, and hit enter. And what you can see is it's linked to your personal account. In this case, it's linked to the AED account. And it has this tweet hashtag here, AED chat, so that when you are composing your tweets, you're gonna copy and paste all of those pre-written tweets right in here. This is like your own kind of personal place in which you have everything housed for all tweets that have AED chat. That hashtag is going to be listed here. So you're going to copy and paste your responses, and you can see when I clicked in here, it automatically puts in AED chat. So you don't have to have it written in to every single tweet that you've composed. In fact, you don't want to do that, because then it'll be redundant and it's automatically going to put in that AED chat. So those tweets that you compose in that Google document, you don't want to put AED chat on the end. You just want to make sure you have enough room for it. So then on the day of the chat, what you're going to be doing is posting all of your responses here. You can say, A1, a great resource for ED recovery, and then you copy your URL, and you can see it's AED chat on the end. You've got your answer one here, and you hit send. Now, a couple things that you want to keep in mind is you want to set your feed speed to the fastest it can go. So that's going to be important, because you will see the list here is every tweet that has the hashtag AED chat, and it's all in one place. Really easy to follow. So on the day of the chat, I'm telling you, those tweets go really fast. That's one thing that people are often surprised about, is how fast those the Twitter feed goes. And you will want to be kind of scanning here. So you'll notice, like, you might see someone who's participating in the chat, and they might respond to something that you posted, and they'll say, wait, well, what did you mean by such and such? And what you'll do is you'll say, let's pretend here Recovery Warriors sent you a question about something that you had tweeted out, and you'd say, well, I want to respond to Recovery Warriors. You'd hit this little arrow here, and it takes you automatically so you can respond to Recovery Warriors and say, you know, great question, I meant blah, blah, blah. And you have the hashtag AED chat. It's going to respond. It's going to keep you on the AED chat line, so it's still, everybody can see it, but you're responding to the person who might have asked you a question. You hit send. You might see another tweet that you think, oh my gosh, what a fantastic insight. You know, I would really love to you know, repost that. I thought that was fantastic. I'm going to retweet that. You can click that middle little place here and say retweet. You think, oh shoot, now it's showing that I'm over 4 characters. I've got to take something out. Well, I think this is a little bit redundant to say date, so I'm just going to kind of delete that. Great, I can see here I've got 2 characters left, plenty of room, and then I'm going to hit send. So sometimes when you retweet, the characters get beyond the capacity of the 140, and you have to do a little editing. Sometimes you have to get a little bit creative with spelling and abbreviations and things. And then the last feature I want to show you is that you can also save tweets. You might think, oh, this is a fantastic tweet. I want to come back to this later, and you can just hit that star, and you favorited it. And when you go back to your Twitter account, you can go back to things that you have favorited, and it will be listed there. I'm gonna unfavorite that. So this TWUBS website is going to be your most important key to participating in the Twitter chat. So you might want to log in before the Twitter chat is actually happening, before the day of, and just kind of get familiar with it and make sure that you know how to link it to your individual Twitter account, which is very simple. Just log into twitter.com, sign in, go to twubs.com, authorize the app to use your personal Twitter account, and you should be all good to go. Another thing that you want to do is make sure that on the day of the chat, all of those pre-written tweets, you want to have those up on your computer so they're ready to go. It should be really simple. The majority of what you're going to be tweeting out are things that are pre-written, and the things that you might have to be a little bit spontaneous with are retweeting and then responding when people have questions. And the last thing that really helps the conference call to be, or to the tweet chat, excuse me, to be a real success is a conference call. So on the day of the chat, you will have received an invitation, either a Google Hangout or a conference call number to call on your phone and join the conference call. And I highly suggest that you communicate to the social media members who are going to be helping you host the chat, is that you provide them with your cell phone number. That way, if we lose a connection or something happens with technology, we have an easy way to communicate with one another. So you'll want to be well connected in terms of your cell phone, and joining with the conference call line, and that way everybody's communicating and really getting ahead of the game, and doing this 20 to 30 minutes before the actual tweet chat begins will help you to feel cool, calm, and collected on the day of the chat. And I have to tell you, everybody who participates in the chat is shocked at how fast it goes and how fun it is. So I think you'll have a really good time. I really hope that that this video has been instructive for you. I'm gonna come back to my little screen here, and really want to say thank you again for your willingness to participate. We hope this training video was helpful for you. Feel free to give us feedback if you feel like there's anything we can do differently with this video. We're happy to improve it. And thanks again, and we hope you have a great day, and we hope you have a great time participating with us. Take good care.